Welcome to Talking Twaddle, a Better Being Me podcast, the podcast where we unpack the neurodivergent experience, not just in theory, but in all its messy, beautiful, everyday reality. I'm Joanne Hatchard, and I'm here because I believe something important. Your story might feel deeply personal and even isolating, but it's not unique. That might sound strange at first because in the thick of it, when you're feeling like an alien at the window, disconnected from your body, or like you're constantly just one step outside of belonging, it feels so personal, like no one else could possibly understand. But here's the thing, those exact feelings, they're shared over and over again across this beautifully neurodivergent community. So this podcast isn't about highlighting one way to be or do neurodivergence right. It's about making space for all of the common threads in our story, the ones that remind us we're not alone, we're not broken, and we're not doing this by ourselves. This is our journey, and I'm so glad you're here. Let's get into it. Welcome to the new season of Talking Twaddle, your Better Being Me podcast. For today, I have Victoria Hausler on as my special guest. And throughout this season, we are looking at other people's neurodivergent journeys, where they're at the moment, what inspired them to start, and any inspirational quotes they might have, or not even quotes, just inspirational bits. Don't even need to be that inspirational. Just things that you want to say to the neurodivergent population that's ever growing. Highlighting that we probably all have a very similar theme running in our stories, and sharing is caring. So welcome, Victoria.
Hey, Joe. Thanks for having me on.
Thanks for being here. Now you're relatively new to your neurodivergent identity. You
Yes.
mean you've been neurodivergent your entire fucking life, but you've just come to that realization.
Yes. Yeah. And what a journey it has been since, what was that? How long ago was that we had that late night chat?
I think it was only like 4 months ago. Maybe
It feels like
5.
only yesterday.
It does.
But yeah, it's been a journey, but it's actually been a great journey for me.
Mm,
Like this whole self-discovery, unmasking, coming into my power, all of that. It's
mm.
yeah, have actually really like there's been moments, but I've actually really enjoyed coming into the neurodivergent community.
And we welcome you with open arms. As long as you know you don't touch me. That's fine.
No. And you don't look directly into my eyes. I don't like
Yeah, that's okay.
that.
If we start at the I guess the trigger or the instigator for why you were exploring any formal diagnosis or even just recognizing your neurodivergence, what was the trigger that kind of started the ball rolling?
I think for me, the trigger was my son, Logan, my youngest. He is like my little mini me. And he was diagnosed with ADHD last year and is on his medication journey at the moment. But I kind of looked at him and kids are a great reflection of their parents. And I was like, I do that as well. I we're the same person. Why is he doing those things? And like, what? Where has this come from? Oh, it's come from me.
Welcome to
So
the crowd.
yeah. So that's where kind of I started to like reevaluate, and also I was finding it really difficult to do certain things. I found myself really dysregulated a lot of the time. I have a lot of trauma as well, but
Mm,
on top of that, just little things that I was like, why am I doing these? Why does that annoy me? Why does the smell of something, why can't I go out and shop and be okay with noises? And it was just all of those little, you start to question
mm,
yourself a little bit and you become a bit more self-aware. And then you're like,
yeah.
give me the answers.
Yes, I did experience that bit.
Yes. Specifically you, Joe, give me the answers.
And what was happening? So obviously you're not a teenager,
No.
but the coping mechanisms that you would have employed to get to now,
Hmm.
do you recognize what they were? Um,
Yeah, I think that I had a combination of things. I was obviously a very high functioning masker. Learned that I had to look a certain way, act a certain way to be loved, to be seen, to just get through like every day. I just feel like I was part of something, or like I would change my identity or the way that I did things when I met somebody to kind of feel like I was the same.
mhm,
And I just because I wanted to be accepted or I just wanted to belong somewhere. But really, I'd be like, I don't belong here. I'm just going to pretend to be this person for a minute because that feels good in the moment. And then I would go home and I'd be like, oh, thank God I don't have to be like that anymore. Don't judge me for days. So yeah, I think a lot of my from a lot of my trauma, I think just people pleasing as well, like just
mm,
saying yes to things that I didn't really want to, and not speaking up because I didn't want to hurt people, or just not being true to myself and my weird not being my weird self. Like, when I was a kid, I used to look at myself in the mirror a lot and make faces at myself and like talk to myself and, do all of that. And that's kind of weird, but that's, I think, part of it, just trying to work out who you are. And
mm.
do you know what I mean? But
Yeah.
because of all of my trauma, I didn't get that opportunity. So now I'm kind of getting that now later in my life.
Yeah. Yes, just to put you at ease. This eyebrow that you see here, that
Oh
was
my
before you went
God.
in the mirror.
My eyebrow, it has a mind of its own. I'm not sure whether you've seen any of my like Facebook stuff for Dara. My eyebrow, I think it's this one. It just automatically, I'm like talking, it goes up. Like, why?
Well, I put energy and effort into this.
It's a skill I've mastered since I was about 4.
So, well, how's Vic feeling today? I don't know. Check the eyebrow, see how high it's
Yeah.
going. Yeah, so you're not alone in the practicing in the mirror.
Yeah.
And it's interesting. I don't know if that's a weird thing to do. To me, that just makes sense. Like you
Mm.
can't just constantly ask somebody what your face looks like. So you can't like go, I'm happy. What does my face look like?
Yeah. It's like you have to learn what those faces look like. So then when you go out into society, the mask can be worn. You know what I mean?
Mm,
It's like
yeah.
practicing for socializing, which I'm actually not very good at that, but I've just learned what it's like going to school and learning how to learning how to spell. And you may not be very good at it, but you just learn enough that you can get through.
Yeah. Yeah. Like the neurotypical people would probably be like, mm.
Yeah, what's wrong with her? Why is she doing that?
Yeah.
Smiling when she's sad? What?
Yeah. I stopped going to movies because I would laugh at the wrong time. Like
Yeah,
I could either see it coming or there was a delay.
yeah.
My friend would be like, "Oh, Joanne, just shut up."
Yeah.
It's just as well I have a very inconspicuous laugh.
Yeah. Oh yeah, it's very inconspicuous.
Yeah.
Uh,
Hello, I'm Joanne Hatchard, founder of Better Being Me and creator of Be Me Completely. For years, I worked with families across Australia, helping them understand and support their neurodivergent children. But what I've seen over and over again is a growing number of women silently screaming for help. Women who've spent their lives adapting, masking, and trying to keep everything together, only to realise that they've lost themselves in the process. This is why I've created Be Me Completely, an 8-week program designed specifically for late identifying neurodivergent women. I help you reclaim your identity and embrace who you are. Come with me as we peel back the mask and learn to feel comfort in the world. This isn't about fixing yourself. You are never broken. This is about putting your needs on the table, recognizing your strengths, and learning to live in a way that works for you. Join me for 8 weeks of support backed by a lifetime of access so you can finally remember who you are, because my life is better being me and your life is better being you. So if we were to look at, I guess, the ramifications of moving out of that masking space and recognizing some of those coping mechanisms for what they were, which often were maladaptive coping mechanisms and not the healthy ones.
Yeah.
Where have you seen the shift in yourself?
I think the biggest shift is not caring as much. Um, I've
Is it
just
okay?
I just don't really care anymore. Like you
Mm,
just, I think the unmasking for me is not really caring too much. Like I still care, but not
mm,
caring to the level that I did about how I'm perceived
yeah.
and not worrying about fitting in because what I found is that my neuro tribe will find me anyway somewhere. We just
Hmm.
attract each other. But yeah, I think the unmasking for me has been losing friends are used to the masked version, the version
Mm,
that would be like, yeah, I'll do whatever you want me to do, and I can act like you to fit in and all of that. So yeah, friendship
yeah.
losses,
Mm,
um, just relationship stuff as well. So, my partner, like Jason, learning the little, like he kind of has seen the quirks before and he's very accepting. That's what he loves about me, but also him understanding why I do things and why sometimes I might lose it and get frustrated and say things or do things because there's a moment where I'm not feeling regulated or there's just too much
mm,
going, too many questions being asked, and so yeah, but I think that it hasn't been, it's a two-pronged, it's like there's some negatives and there's some positives to it.
yeah.
But I think because now I'm on the ADHD medication, and I'm on anti-anxiety medication as well, I think that is helping kind of keep me level and focused, and that
Mm,
it's helping, but it is bringing out, I think, more of the autistic traits.
yeah. You got more of the tism.
Just comes out. And it actually, this morning, I was making my coffee, and I go through phases where I have a particular mug that I have to drink out of. It's like that has to be the mug, and that might last for a couple of months. And I
Mm,
won't drink out of any other mug except for that. And I'll even like rewash it just to use that mug because I like the way it feels and it's heavy, and
mm,
you know what I mean. And then
mm.
I noticed that this morning, I was like, why am I attracted to this mug all of a sudden, and no other mug makes the cut? It's stuff like that that I'm noticing, little,
Questioning every step of your
yeah,
reality.
down to my coffee mug.
But it is a very useful thing to do because once you have kind of uncovered what it is that is triggering that comfort in you, you
Yeah.
can replicate that in other spaces as well,
Yes. Yeah. And
which
I
is
think,
beneficial. Mm,
yeah, and I think that one of the biggest things for me was, I have a long history of disordered eating,
mm,
and food was a comfort for me. It like soothed me and it helped regulate me. And learning learning a healthy way to manage it's not like a binge and restrict and that whole cycle.
mm.
It's more just having keeping everything steady and balanced. And so I don't have to, like, at the end of a stressful day or in halfway through a stressful day, I'm like, I need to just shove something into my mouth, just to soothe me. It's my comfort.
Yeah, yeah.
So it's being aware of that as well. So that way I can do things throughout the day just to, like,
Mm.
it's just about balance for me now, keeping everything level and balanced.
Yeah. I find, and I don't know about your brain, but I find when I'm struggling to get to the next step, Like
Mm.
I know the big picture and I've started, but I'm like fart assing around in the middle.
Yeah.
I need something crunchy in my mouth. Like, and I can never find it. And well, chocolate always helps, but that doesn't make me feel good because of too much sugar.
Yeah. And I'm kind of the same. When I'm focusing on something as well, I think before I was medicated, I found that I would eat, like I'd bite my fingernails a lot when I was focusing, or same thing, I'd have to have something in, or I had this obsession with like lip balm, and I would be
Yeah.
just like constantly applying lip balm while I'm like concentrating and trying to focus. And I'm like, why am I eating this lip balm? Just to be doing something tactile
Something.
while I'm
Yeah.
trying to like get my brain to work.
That's it. It's like I need this motion for this to start kicking in.
Yeah. Start the engine.
Yeah. See, I was like, I wonder if almonds would be good.
Yeah, but I mean, again, I wouldn't just be happy with like 10 almonds. I would have to eat be like a kilo of almonds.
And then you would need a lot of water, otherwise things are not going to be moving. That's a little bit too much fiber.
Yeah.
And have you found kind of there's a lot of connections now to any other, mysterious medical things that happen? Do you have like
Um,
a lazy eye? I've got a lazy eye.
do you
I do. This
notice
one's
that?
not working real good.
No, I don't really have any medical. I don't think so. Not that I mean, look, by next time we catch up, I probably would have identified something now that it's in my brain.
Yeah. I guess some of the common things would be like low muscle tone, your tongue not actually sitting in the right place. So, but you've got
Oh.
very nice straight teeth. Your tongue's actually meant to be resting on the top of your mouth rather than on the lower.
Yeah, mine does that. Mine rests on the top. I think
Yeah.
I don't know whether it's related, but I like have lipedema in my legs. So
Mm.
I don't know whether that's related, but
Mm.
I'm actually very good at building muscle. Like my body responds really well to like strength training and stuff like that, and like just good eating. But yeah, I've got lipedema, which is like diseased fat cells in my legs, but I don't know whether that's actually related. And I know you
Mm.
mentioned to me that I mean, hypermobility as I stretch my hand and my fingers, hypermobility, which I find, I'm like, that's a great skill to have. I find being hypermobile has its advantages at certain times in my life.
I think so. One of the biggest shocks to me was I said to somebody that I'm really bendy, in an appropriate space.
Yeah,
And I just, because I can just fold over in half, no problems.
yeah,
And she goes, well, that's not exactly what did she say? That's not being flexible, that's just collapsing.
yeah,
Oh. She goes, you're not actually, squatting or anything like that. You're just kind of collapsing in the spot. Well, I can pick stuff up from the ground without bending my knees. That's
yeah.
helpful.
You can
I
do the
look
bend
like,
and snap really good.
the what?
You can do the bend and snap really
Yes,
well.
that's it. That's exactly right. They used to get me in trouble because that's how I pick stuff up. But there's no there's no flirtation behind it. It's just this is an easier space for me to bend.
Oh,
Actually, in that, like the flirtation, I would get that really, really wrong. How about you?
absolutely. Absolutely. I'm as in like flirting with men and like,
Mm.
oh God, I am there's no flirting. There's actually no flirting. It doesn't flirt is not a thing. It's literally, do you want to date me? Okay. Not yet? No. Okay. Like there's no it's like will we be like are we going back to my house or your house? There's no in between. It's very and that's actually funny because all of the previous like not that there have been many previous partners very very ladylike over here have all said that I'm very direct when it comes to like dating and because I just see the goal and I know what I want and I'm like yeah that one will do.
I
You'll
love
do
the look
come
at
with
you.
me and they don't really have an option to escape. So yeah, flirting is not never been good at flirting and don't have time for it, to be honest.
I would get it so very, very wrong. I thought I was being friendly, but I was bordering on creepy or just misunderstood because often I stare at people, like I stare at people's teeth a lot.
Yeah, you focus in on something, you focus in, and you're like
Yeah.
the features that other people might miss. You're like, why does I do that all the time watching TV. I'm like, what's wrong with her face? Why
Yeah.
is her face like that? Like, why does one eye look that way? Like, you really hone in on people's features.
Yes. I remember I think we were watching CSV, like Special Victims Unit, and the really tall guy, Goran, I think he enters every room with his head tilted. I'm like, freaking hell is wrong with him? Like, why is he? And then I'd watch it like this
Because you
with my
mirror.
head
You're like,
tilted.
I'm
Yeah.
mirroring him.
Why would we be doing this? Oh, and then on mirroring, there was one girl I was working with. It turns out she had Parkinson's. I didn't know
Oh
that, but she had a head shake. And when she would talk to you, she would have a head shake, and I'd be like, I don't know
no,
what's happening.
no. You were like, is she saying no to me?
Like, what's going
No,
on?
you don't want to drink? No, you don't want to hang out? Like, what's
She didn't like me.
But that's the thing, isn't it? It's like everything is so black and white, and
Mm,
there's really no like that's what I found that everything is so black and white now, and it was before, but now I
yeah,
realize that it
yeah.
was. And especially when it comes to like dating, I like having, any kind of rejection or, somebody not liking me for whatever reason, I'd be like, but what do you mean? What do you mean you don't like me? Like, how does, but like, I've done everything that you've asked. I've masked. I've worn the mask for you.
Damn it, you should love me.
Yeah, because it's all like I find that a lot of this and what I've discovered from this journey is that it's really being about my self-worth as well. Like all the things that you do and you attach yourself to, how does that affect you as a person and your worth?
Yeah.
And being told, oh, you're too loud or you're too quiet or you're weird or you need to say hello to people when they come in. My dad I was so shy as a kid, and I
Mm,
would just, every photo of me as a kid is me just like off in the corner, like
yeah.
quiet, like don't look at me. And they'd be like, you're just being rude. You need to, say hello to people when they come in the house and be cordial. And I'd be like,
Mm,
it's weird. I can't look at people directly in the eye. But they just had no understanding of it, you
no.
know?
And were you a performer as a child as well? Were you like in a theater
Yeah,
or something?
which was it was so difficult for me as a child because we used to sing on stage a lot, my sisters and I, and we would be like trained. Like I think my dad thought that we were going to be some kind of like Partridge Family, like the Coors, something like that. And he was like, "This is my next big thing." And unfortunately, I held everybody back with my neurodivergence. I used to just stand on stage, and because my dad would be like, you have to move, you have to dance and show expression. And I used to just stand there and just shake one leg the whole time. just I was so shy and I just did not want to, I just didn't feel comfortable in my own skin or
Yeah.
people looking at me and the lights. And it was just, yeah, it was horrible, but I just had to get over it and get on with it, which I think is why I'm so confident now,
Yeah.
because it's just a skill that I've learned. But I
Mm,
have periods of confidence and socializing, and then at the end of the day, I'm like, I need just like quiet time in a dark room.
yeah. Yeah. And you've discovered the wonders of a weighted blanket.
Oh, I had it on me last night. I was like, my kids they were just going to bed, and when kids just take forever to go to bed, it's like all of a sudden they're hungry and they're thirsty and they want to talk to you about life and all, and like, I've got hay fever, and I'm like, really, at 9 o'clock at night all of a sudden, like, what's happening? And I was just feeling like, I want to kill somebody, and so I just put my weighted blanket on, and I was like, oh, it just calms me. Yeah, it just lets that breath out. And then I'm like, I'm not your mother anymore. Help yourselves, go away. I help you. Put yourselves to bed. I don't care if you've got hay fever.
The mother mask has come off.
Yeah. Oh, she's
Um,
arrived.
she has arrived. How is just speaking of motherhood, how did you go in those first couple of years? Because
Oh,
I found that was when that's when my foundation fucked up. Like that was like,
yeah.
oh, actually, Joanne, you've got no coping mechanisms outside drug, sex, and alcohol. And not even
Yeah.
drugs, because I don't do drugs. Joe
No,
just
but
doesn't.
I get that. Like my oh God, I was, I did with my first Connor, he and I actually think he's like both of my kids are neurodivergent, but I was, and this is where the autism was strong. I had to have everything perfect down to a T. He had to have his routine in bed by 7 p.m. And if it was 7:01,
Mm,
meltdown, can't cope, worst mother in the world. And I would just be like crying in the fetal position, but to everybody else, I was like super mom. You know what I
mm,
mean? And I started my fitness journey then as well because I was trying to lose my baby weight, and then that became an obsession.
mm,
And then my second Logan came along 18 months later, and he didn't want to sleep, and he didn't want to feed, and he didn't want to do anything that Connor did. And I was like, I can't go with it. I've got one child that's so different to the
yeah,
firstborn. I
yeah,
just And then that's when everything just fell apart, really, because
mm,
I didn't know how to deal with that, because not one size fits all with kids.
mm, yeah,
And he really taught me, or he really showed me my flaws, really, or
mm,
like, not my flaws, but the areas where I was like not coping and not just
mm.
pretending. Do you know what I mean? Faking it till I make it, basically.
Yeah, so you had the compliant baby, which, it sounded like there was a crack in the glass there, but then a
Yeah.
non-compliant baby where it just went, oh, by the way, fuck you.
Yeah, exactly. And the thing is that when Logan came along, obviously a lot, like he's ADHD himself now, so I'm like, oh, that explains everything. But
Mm,
you, he made me realize that it's okay to be messy, and it's okay if things don't go to plan. So like it was like, yeah, he really showed me like all my areas and all the things, and I just pushed all those things down. I was like, no, I'm not acknowledging any of those. I'm just not going to acknowledge. We're just going to continue to wear the mask. Don't worry about it. It'll be fine. And then he also showed me like how to relax, and just like you just can't control everything, and you just have to go with the flow sometimes. And he's such a free spirit that it was
mm,
almost like it was refreshing for me to have that as well.
yeah.
But I mean, look, what, two years later, I divorced my husband, and that all went to shit. So it was like, yeah, all of that stuff I suppressed, here it all is, and I'm getting divorced. Sorry about
Worked
that.
out well, but
And it was only a matter of time before it got to that point anyway, because there's only so long you can like push it all down before then it just wants to come out.
yeah, it's going to come out in some way, shape, or form. And I
Yeah.
found that so much of it comes out in resentment, but we can't
Yeah.
resent our kids because that's being a bad mum. So we resent our partner because fuck them.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's just easier. It's just easier to do it that way.
Yeah, that's it. We can blame
Yeah.
that person over there. Um,
And it's still, I think even then for me, I still like I didn't know who I
mm,
was. That was like he was there for 10 years with me, and we were both really young when we got married and had kids and all that. But he got the version of me that is so different to the version that I am now because of my diagnosis and my healing journey.
mm.
So yeah, it sucks to be him, miss out on that.
Sucks to be you. But but
Yeah.
he's never going anywhere because he's the father of your children, and so there is
Stuck to
an
me for life.
ongoing. Yeah, he's there anyway. And if nothing else, he will appreciate the differences in you that will ease the co-parenting roles because you can now start expressing
Yeah.
directly what you are wanting.
Yes, which, in fairness to him, he is a very patient person. And we co-parent extremely well together because we just always like wanted the best for our kids, and we just weren't fit together because of more so because of my stuff more than his. But now and back then we would argue and I wouldn't be able to tell him exactly what I wanted because I didn't bloody know what I wanted.
Mm,
Whereas, like you said, now it makes things easier because now I can actually have like articulate what I need and how I'm feeling, and you know,
mm,
which, for example, Logan's going on a school camp, and I get so like I'm fiercely protective and like I need to wrap him in cotton wool and I need to control the situation and I can't. And
mm.
I can actually have these conversations with my ex-husband now around like why I need him to like why I need to just go and investigate the location of his camp. Why
Yeah,
I
we
need
might
to
need to talk about
investigate
that later.
why I need to investigate the background history of his teachers. Like just little things like that.
It's just a little information mining, nothing too serious.
No, nothing too serious. But yeah, it's things like that that he now can like look at me and go, oh yeah, actually, like this is part of who she is and what she needs, and
Mm,
he's
mm.
actually really respectful of that as well. So that
Oh,
does help.
yeah. And does that also mean that nobody's dismissive of them either? So you're like, this is what the information I'm looking for.
Mm.
And they don't go, oh, don't worry about that. You're just overthinking it. Or do they go, do whatever you need to do. You're right. You'll be right.
I get both. I get,
Mm.
okay, yep, you're overreacting and like you don't really need to do that, but I know I'm not going to stop you anyway. So you do you and tell me what you come out with.
Yeah.
And I'm here for the journey as well, because you never know what you might find about someone's background.
Like, I don't think it's important, but once you get the information, share it with me. Thanks. That'd be
Yeah.
great.
Yeah. Like you're a little bit crazy and creepy, but I'm here for it still. But I'm just gonna, you do you.
I will not be your alibi, just to let
No.
you know. And I feel like that's a nicer place to be at, where it's like y having edges where okay, maybe I've gone a little bit too far is beneficial. But
Yeah.
when they've kind of gone, you know, let's not dismiss it 100%, I think that's nicer place to be in than somebody going, oh, just get over it, Joanne. Just,
Yeah. And I think people start to expect the not normal. Is that even a thing? They
yeah, no,
expect it.
yeah,
Like they just like people around me who know me, they just know that I'm going to be doing these things now. So they
yeah.
just accept it and then like, oh, Vic, that's just her way or whatever. And then
Mm.
there are other people who sit back and go, what the fuck? Like, like, and there is that judgment there, but I just
Yeah.
don't really take that on anymore. Like I just, this is who I am. I have to this is part of me being me. And if that means that I have to follow you home after a work day to see where you live and who, and that's just part of it.
We might
I've
need to
never
talk about
done that
that
to
one
any of
later.
the teachers at the current school. So just a disclaimer, if any of them are listening to this, you're safe for now.
But I will be watching you just to
Yeah.
let you know.
But I
There's a
think, and
little.
the thing for me that I found is that I didn't realize how literal I am. I'm very literal about everything. And like if somebody says something to me, they 100% mean it in my eyes.
Mm,
There's no like I'm like, there was something that happened the other day, and the person was like, why did you actually take that so literally? And I was like, because that's what you said.
yeah,
Like,
what else do you
what
want me to
you
take that?
do you not say what you mean? Like, I don't understand. Everything is very like literal. And I think that's why when you've got to work out your people, because people might say things or they might have banter with you, and that can be taken, like for me, they might say, oh, like you've got a bit of, junk in your trunk, or you've got, they might take the piss out of you and you'd be like, junk in my trunk? Like what? Is there actually
Hey.
junk in my trunk?
Which pet? I like to hang on to things. Leave it alone.
Yeah. Put it in my trunk.
Yes. And the literal taking I like that. You're not literally taking anything. That's kleptomania. You're not kleptomania. That's literally taking everything. I like that joke. There's a big social lesson to learn in that, taking so many of the things literally
Mm,
around organizing social events and making friends and
yeah.
understanding when they say let's catch up for coffee, they don't really expect you to pull out your calendar and make a date.
Yeah.
Oh, there was one time I'd stayed at a friend's. Oh, I was dropping something off and we got chatting. And then as I was leaving, she goes, "Oh, I should have offered you a glass of wine." I said, "Okay." And I walked back in the house. And she was like, "I guess we're doing this then."
Yeah, so we are having one. Okay, so you're staying a little bit longer.
It was
Yeah,
only like, I reckon 3 years later, I went, "Oh."
yeah. Oh, that wasn't an invitation. Okay. And that is actually something like I really do struggle to make friends or like have solid relationships with especially other women.
Mm,
Um, and it's just because I'm not good at reading the room and I'm
mm,
not good at like I feel like I'm good at people's energy and I that more than people's the way that they look or their expressions or anything like that. I'm good with just like they could be in my space and I'm like, oh, that energy doesn't feel right
mm.
and pick up on that. But if that is a mistake and that person is actually just a genuinely nice person, I'm like, nah, your energy is off. I'm over here. Don't come near me.
Don't be touching that. Like
Yeah.
everybody
And
else
so
will find out eventually that you're a piece of shit.
yeah. But they could actually be quite a nice person, but I just there's something about them that I'm like, I don't it just doesn't vibe with me. And I struggle with that because then it's like, unless we can go really deep with our friendship, we don't have a
Mm.
friendship. Like I
Yeah.
need to be able to know who you are as a person deep down in your soul, your past, your history, your trauma, unpack it all. Let's spend the day, the weekend, like getting to know each other, or there's no friendship.
We're not doing surface level bullshit, people. We're going dive deep.
Yeah, I just don't know how to do the surface. I have to be like, tell me what were your parents like when you were a child? Like, and people are like, whoa, whoa, whoa. We just
Like, can you
met.
even say my name yet?
But I don't know whether is that a neurodivergence? Is that something? Is that
I think that is a hangover from the prescribed meaning of friendship. So kind
yeah.
of like I would have growing up, I would have a lot of situational friends
Mm,
where I would know them from ballet, but I didn't even think about them outside of not ballet because I walk around like an elephant tap. But I wouldn't even think about them outside of tap dance,
yeah.
or netball. I really wouldn't think about them outside of that situational, and that was enough for me a lot of the time.
Yeah.
Um, and then high school, I would heavily mask.
Mm,
Um, but you watch the shows growing up around what a good friend or what a best friend is. And
yeah.
that's exactly what they are. They're like in each other's pockets. They're calling each other in the morning to see what they're wearing so they can coordinate and all like, oh, if that's what your perception of friendship is, then that is what you're playing out.
Yeah. And it's just not
Yeah.
like that's not like achievable because it just sets you up for failure. Like I've done that with all of my friends. I'm like, we now own each other and you can't have any other friends but me.
Yes. I
I
do
won't
get a
have
little
any friends
jealous
but
still. I'm
you.
like, I think I work best in like a group of three because, when I'm tired, I don't feel like talking to anyone, but I don't want to make them feel unloved, so they can talk to somebody else.
But it
But
does,
it's,
it makes it difficult for you to manage friendships and when people aren't as invested as you because of what we take it like literally the movies and everything we've learned. Again,
mm,
we take it very literal and it's like this is who we are now and this is what we need to
yeah,
be like. Then
yeah,
they're not at the same level and then you're like, wait, I'm heartbroken because I thought this was what we were meant to do. We were meant to
yeah.
braid each other's hair at night and like, just I'm
Talk
like,
constantly.
yeah.
I think, yeah, well, my biggest um reflection on that is like Anne of Green Gables, the 80s movie. Obviously,
Mm.
my son's called Gilbert. I'm a little invested in Anne of Green Gables.
Yeah.
But her and, Anne and Diana Barry were bosom buddies. And that was,
Yeah.
that's what I wanted to emulate. I wanted to be someone's Buddhism buddies, but I didn't have enough care factor
Yeah.
in the people that I was meeting.
I know it's always it's like that, isn't it? It's like I really want to be your friend, but I also just want to be that when I want to be that person. Like, don't invite me places and ask me to do things unless I really want to do those things because you'll be disappointed as well. And I won't actually care about it. I won't care about your feelings, but I just want you. But when I'm ready, you better be ready.
Otherwise, I'm feeling rejected.
Yeah.
Maybe we need to expand the group so it's instead of like working on three people, there's a larger pool of neurodivergent folk that are going to at least agree one of them. Like 1% agrees, and that feels pretty good. And then you don't count how many times you've been rejected by.
I just don't know whether that's possible, Joe. I think we would naturally just be like, hang on, one person's agreed, but why haven't the 10 other people agreed? Let's unpack that. What's wrong with me or what's wrong with you?
Why did they say yes? What's wrong with them? And now you're making it hard. Yeah.
Yeah. But that is part of it though. Like not every situation is easy for someone whose brain is just wired differently. And if you can recognize that in the moment, which I'm not very good at, to be honest, like I don't, it takes me like in the moment, I'm like, fuck this, or I'll overanalyze or I'll, get sad about something. But then like an hour later, I'll be like, oh yeah, okay. I'll put it into perspective. I process it, and then I'm like, I'm just such a healed person. So healed right now. Hashtag healed.
I often need someone else to point out the other person's point of view and me to go,
Yeah.
what?
Yeah. I didn't see that.
What do you mean?
Yeah. Yeah,
Maybe
that does
they
help
don't
also.
want to do that, Joanne, because they're, sick. What?
Yeah.
That was yesterday.
Oh shit. And that's one thing that you pointed out to me was like having rules for other people in your head or in my head, I guess, and them not being aware of it. And
Yeah.
Jason, my partner, actually said it to me the other night. We had a bit of an argument, and because I wanted the dishes done at a certain time, but he did not know the time that wanted those dishes because he does the dishes in my house, in our
Yeah.
house. And so I'm like, by 8:30, I wanted those dishes done because I wanted to put the kids to bed and do all of that. And I wanted to have a tidy kitchen. But he was in the other room relaxing. And I just walked in and I was like, why haven't you done the dishes yet? Like it's 8:30. And he's like, when did a time frame be put on this? Like he just wasn't aware. And I was like, what do you mean? Like it's 8:30. Why do you leave it so late? He's like, I'm sick of you with your rules. I know nothing about what's going on in your head. Because he knows now. He's like, he's aware. So he's like calling
Yeah.
me out on it. And I'm like, there's no rules. I don't know what rules you're talking about.
But look at the time.
Yeah, like hop to it.
And it's interesting, isn't it? Because there are no domino effects because it's his job to do the dishes, and I
Yeah.
assume your job to put the kids to bed.
Yeah.
There's no connection between the two jobs, but you're like, no, that's my trigger to put the kids to bed. The dishes are done.
And I'm also like, I don't want to be like after I put the kids to bed, that's like my quiet time. So I want, for some reason, even though my living room and my kitchen are not connected, I can't sit in the living room and watch TV and relax and unwind with the dishes over in the other room being there. And what is that about? Well, I just can't because it's like I know they're there and I'm over
Mm,
here not being able to relax and just not think about it. So
yeah.
he has to do the dishes for me to be able to relax.
Maybe he can start putting the kids to bed and you can do the dishes whatever time you want.
Yeah, but it's like once you change that up, the routine is set, Joe.
We're not looking for solutions, right? We're just looking for the dumping. Okay. Amazing. Now, if you want to talk about your business, and we make
Yes.
sure we celebrate the work that you have been creating, unbeknownst to you being a neurodivergent woman, but actually creating quite a neurodivergent clan around you.
Yeah, I don't know whether that was just like the universe helping me out or me just attracting what you know what I mean? Like I started Dara before I was diagnosed and I really was aware. But I think I just naturally always craved the connection, especially with other women that I've always struggled with.
Mm.
And but it's a really convenient connection because I have women come to come to my business, and they come into our social hub and soon to be our gym, and they come for periods, and we can all have fun together and feel connected, and then they can leave and go about their business, and we can, do you know what I mean? It's a really convenient arrangement that I've created for myself.
You've created friendships that come to you. Perfect.
Yeah.
And pay you. Fantastic. But
Yeah.
tell us about Dara Services.
So we've got two businesses. We've got Dara Disability Services and Dara Wellness Services. Dara Disability Services is our NDIS in-home support, social participation, building connections, mentoring, building capacity with our NDIS clients. Quite female focused. We do have some male clients, but a lot of our clients are predominantly female, with disabilities ranging from any psychosocial disabilities, could be bipolar, borderline personality, schizophrenia, to mild intellectual disability, and then also quite complex. So cerebral palsy, MS. It really just varies. And then we have Dara Wellness Services, which is our female, or those who identify as female, focused gym, rehabilitation gym. So we want to have a space where women can come and feel safe and feel capable and strong in their bodies, and it not have this, the typical gym environment where you have to go in and look a certain way, and your t-shirt's rolled up under and you're just afraid to wear what you would just wear, your trackies and your socks, and you know what I mean? We want women to just come in and feel safe to just be who they are, and have a bit of a play as well, like have fun while you're learning how to move your body and use the gym equipment, and become pain free.
Yeah.
So that's Dara Wellness Services. So we have a bit of crossover with clients, but it's just the space that we've got here is just a one-stop shop basically for women to come and thrive and be part of a community and feel connected and safe. And that's the goal. That's the
Yeah.
purpose.
Yeah. And you can see how that reflects your goal from growing up, isn't it? To be connected, to feel safe, to be
Yeah.
provided for, and to make it easy. Yeah.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah, like I have been there where I felt alone and misunderstood and not connected and not having any true friendships, and all of that, and just not even knowing who I am. But being part of something helps with that process. It helps you to feel like you're not alone in this crazy world, you
Mm.
know?
Beautiful. Amazing. Amazing. And I'm sure your community is very thankful for its creation and the effort and time that you put into providing that space. If
Yeah.
you were to have a message to the other neurodivergent women in the world as they explore their own journey, what do you reckon that would be?
I would say go forth without fear, without judgment of yourself. Just be true to who you are, be authentic, and life will just get better. Opportunities will open up for you. The universe will provide. And yeah, just be the biggest message is just be true to, I know it's hard, but be true to who you are, and step into your power, because we're here to change the world. I truly believe that our brains are designed to think outside the square and change the world.
Yeah. Hashtag healed.
Yeah. Hashtag healed. Too blessed to be stressed. And world peace.
Yeah. Miss Congeniality. Tighter gun controls and world peace.
Oh,
Amazing. Thank you. Thank you so much for your time. Much
okay.
appreciated. Um, It is just such a hashtag blessed. It is a blessing to be able to share your journey and your story to the neurodivergent community and your neuro tribe, because it is just another step in somebody else understanding that they are not alone, that
Yes.
the isolation that they feel is because they just haven't connected to the right community rather than them being wrong, which is,
Yeah.
why we want to share stories and create podcasts and get the
Yeah.
message out.
Absolutely. Yeah. And we will, like one neurodivergent brain at a time, we will take over the world.
And then the NDs will, like, it will be you know how the North Pole swaps to the South Pole every now and then?
Yeah.
It'll be like the NDs will be the NTs and the
Yeah.
NTs will be the NDs. Oh, what a world that would be.
Oh, I love it.
Fantastic, much appreciated, and I'm so excited to share your story with the world.
Thanks, Joe. Appreciate and look, have me back anytime. You know I love a good podcast session.
I'll hold you to that.
Thanks, Joe.
No. If this episode has resonated with you, chances are it'll resonate with someone else too. Sharing the podcast is one of the best ways to help others who might be feeling stuck, unheard, or just needing a little nudge towards understanding themselves better. So if you found something useful here today, take a moment to share it. Send it to a friend, post it in a group, or even just screenshot it and pop it in your socials. Tag me so I can say thank you. If you haven't already, hit follow, leave a review, or rate the show. It makes a huge difference in getting this out to more people who need it. Your support means the world. Thank you for being here.